between beverages.
Amen.
Okay. Yalla? Is class ready?
Yes.
Hey guys. No? I feel bad because it starts at like in the middle.
There we are. We're in.
Okay. So we're going to continue with Samech Vav 66. And we're going to talk about one of our favorite topics. You ready? It's a topic that we always in Chizuk in. There's many areas of Yiddishkeit that we have to constantly mechazik ourselves. We never want to be a
Droopy Jew.
Balgaiva or a droopy Jew. So today we're going to try to break out of the droopy Jew syndrome, as always. And here we go. So Hizr Me'od Kama Pamim, Menachem warned us many times, Lispalil B'koyach Godel, to daven with a lot of koach, a lot of power. We once, I don't know, a while ago, a long time ago, we were going through sugyas. Remember a while ago, we were going through sugyas, a long time ago. And we worked on tefillah. We had 3 or 4 parts explaining Rabbi Nachman's Shita, 3 levels of tefillah, from the basic Perish Hamilim, or even lower than that, just saying it out loud, then basic Perish Hamilim, all the way till singing it, davening with it with like a niggin. Rabbi Nachman here says, and we always need chizuk in this, you have to daven b'kol koach, b'koach gadol. So tomorrow morning, what? Sugizem, or by Ma'ariv, he's probably not referring to Shemona Esrei, but it could be he is, because b'koach gadol, we'll have to discuss what exactly b'koach gadol means. Pashup Pshat means out loud. You have to mean it. Say it like you mean it, and mean it like you say it. Right? What does I say? So you're not really doing that during Shemona Esrei. But the rest of davening, you definitely should be. But Koach Gadol could also mean, let's learn. So Rabbi Nachman says, and we have to do this. L'maisa, you have to do this. You have to daven b'Koach Gadol. L'hachnas kol kocha b'diburei tefillah, to enter all of one's power into the words of tefillah. We find this many places. So kol kocha, like we were saying, we could ask. See, if this wasn't Rabbi Nachman, I don't know if I would necessarily ask this question. But since it's Rabbi Nachman, what does he mean, or which part of the body is kol koach? What's he referring to here? What's he referring to over here? Maybe
Your heart.
Maybe your heart. But really, more importantly, the most pashut answer is your mouth. Right? Because with Rabbi Nachman, you could say, many times he talks about clapping, jumping, right? There's a lot of movements that a person could utilize during davening to help him. But how do you know over here he's not referring to that? I think. Look at the words. It's not going to be Shemayim. Could be I'm wrong, but I think lahachnis. Yeah, lahachnis kol kocha b'diburei tefillah. Here, Rabbi Nachman is specifically referring to the words that are coming out of our mouth. Has to be b'kol koch. Clapping and jumping and dancing, it's for another time. But here we have to discuss we're going to see a certain progression. Something very deep, I think, Rabbi Nachman does always. He always hides layers of amkus, of depth, in his simple words, what seems simple. So here we're discussing specifically the mouth. And the Pashup Pshat of full power. The Pashup Pshat, I think, is out loud. Daven out loud. Simple. Now, it's possible, it is certainly possible that by Shemona Esrei, or a part where a person's davening, let's say Shema. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, the Minhag Olam is that people like say Shema a little bit quieter. I'm not sure why. When, in fact, parenthetically, in Shulchan Aruch, it says just we say Shema with a lot of fear and trepidation and sounds like a lot of energy. Whereas by Psukkah Zimmer, we say it out loud, and then by Shema, everybody's quiet. I'm not sure exactly what happened over there, but then I go, Agopanim, B'kol Kocho could also mean, without necessarily understanding, without saying it out loud, you can say the word. It's possible to say words like you mean it. When you're saying, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, whatever. Pick any bracha in Shemona Esrei. Baruch Atah Hashem, Rofei Chol Amo Yisrael. Okay? Now you're whispering. So you could say it just very calm, very serene, right? Say very simply, you didn't hear me, or you can I'm not saying wave your arms. I'm not saying that. But you could say it with an intensity, right? Even though you're whispering. Yes? I think you can. Meaning, really, really mean it. That's also b'kol kocho. We don't want to be lazy by davening. That's the worst of the worst. Davening, you cannot be lazy. Okay? When we have a concept that's found in the Ramchal, in Sichos Haran, we find it in Sefer Chinuch, we probably discussed it before. Achrei pu'ulos. Anybody else? Know the end? No. Yeah. Achrei pu'ulos, after the actions, and nimshach halavavos. After the action goes the heart. That sometimes a person needs to do an action even though it's in a certain way mindless in order to awaken something on the inside. So if a person is davening out loud, even though he doesn't even know what the words mean, let's say, and he's only saying it out loud because Rabbi Nachman said to. There's no other reason why he's davening out loud. He's opening a siddur and he just, he's just doing it because that's, or he's in a minyan, everybody's doing it and he's just following suit. But that actually can arouse his insides, his lave, to mean it a little bit more. And then when you mean it a little bit more, you say it with a little bit more. And then when you say it a little bit more, you mean it a little bit more. And eventually a person can mamish be lit up. The hislavos. If you start low when you're davening, it's very rare to come to hislavos. So either you start with hislavos, if you're zocha, you were learning before, you go to the mikveh before, some people prepare with other tefillas, that gets them revved up. But if you're running into davening and you didn't prepare at all, and then you're going to start mumbling and whispering, you really didn't even start. You never really started. By the end of davening, you never started. So you come in running start, out loud. Just do it. Just do it. Even if nothing happens, you just do it. That's what Nachman says. Here's your mode, kama pam l'hispa b'kol kodol. L'hachnes kol kocha b'dibor tefillah. Put all of your power into the dibor tefillah. Do you believe Rabbi Nachman? You don't believe him. It could be, in a certain way, if you don't do it b'kol kodol, you're not makayim tefillah. Because if tefillah is avodah shebalev, and you go in and there's no lave there, because you're not really emotionally connected, and you're whispering, mumbling, just getting through the words. So what did you do? Where's the avodah shebalev? At least, again, level number one, at least if you say it out loud, that a little bit is giving over your heart. I don't think it's possible not to. At least a little bit. And if you get a little bit, avodah shebalev. A little bit's also good, Sir Rabbi Nachman. Rabbi Nachman did Rabbi Nassan once. A little bit's also good. You don't have to get everything, but get something and build on that. So Nachman says weiter. V'amar kama pamim, or Rabbi Nassan saying in the name of Rabbi Nachman, she'ha'odem tzarich lahachriach atzmo olu tefillah. That a person needs to lahachriach. What does lahachriach mean? Sounds like similar to before. A person needs to put a lot of power into his tefillah. Well, he just said that. So it can't be that's what he's saying here. What does lahachriach mean? Give me a good English word. Force. A person has to force himself to tefillah. When saying words out loud, putting power into something, koach gadol, takes what? Energy. Right? If I'm going to put power into my words, that's a focused energy. Right? Now, energy of a person is usually allocated based on what? A person has a certain amount of energy in his system. During the day, to go to work, to do different things, to be alert, to be aware. What would you say is the defining factor of where a person's going to allocate his energy? And it happens, of course, subconsciously. What do you think?
Your movement.
What?
Your movement.
I don't mean physical energy. I mean the energy that we put into, let's say, the koach of tefillah, let's just say.
Oh, pursuing a movement.
What?
Like pursuing work.
So pursuing. There's a motivation.
Interesting.
What interests you? You're going to put your energy in something that interests you. Where's your wants? Where's your desires? If I like the thing, I'll put my energy into it. If I don't like the thing, I don't care to put my energy into it. I'm not wasting my time with this thing. Right? A person might put his energy into work for a multitude of reasons. Either because he just needs money, otherwise he can't live, he can't pay his rent, he can't have food. So he's motivated to just have the basic needs. So he puts energy into work because he's being motivated, he's being forced by the reason of, I need my basic needs. Or, my family. Or, he likes money. That could be a factor. Could be he has no family, could be he has tons of money already. But why is he still working so hard? He loves money, he has time to spend. And it could also be, what other reasons?
You just put your effort into something that you see an output.
You see
an output. So you don't see an output.
Accomplishment.
Yeah, you don't see your output in your feel, but you see an output in your work.
Accomplishment also. When a person sees that he puts his energy into something and it accomplishes something, I will put my energy in tomorrow, because accomplishment is a very deep need of a person, to feel accomplished. How much energy can a person put into a certain system and get nothing out of it? Very difficult. That's why we have to always, it's very important to always learn what is the appropriate input in any system, whether it's in Ruchnius or Gashmias, and what is the actual proper output. Just parenthetically, because we're speaking about tefillah, if a person thinks that the input of tefillah is to ask Hashem for whatever you want, and the output is that you get some of what you're asking for, and you want it right now, you're going to be in a losing proposition. Because that's not how tefillah works. That's not the most appropriate way of tefillah. Of course, we ask Hashem what we want. And of course, He can give it to us. We also have to know how to see what He gives you. Right? Sometimes you ask for something, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, He doesn't really tell you, you have to learn this, I will give you what you ask for. But it's going to take 3 months, 6 days, 14 hours, and 36 nisyonos. And that's, if we would get that recipe, we'd be like, okay, fine. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't give us that recipe. And therefore we're waiting a day, 2 days, 3. Hashem, I asked you for parnasa. Where's the money? Or, show me the money. You knew that was coming, right? He's too young. Right? But that's not the appropriate output. That's not the way to look at tefillah. And therefore, you might make a lot of mistakes. And therefore not feel accomplished in your tefillah. And therefore not want to put energy into your tefillah. End parentheses. So therefore, sorry. If you don't care about something, you don't put energy into it. If you do care about something, for whatever reason it might be covered. A person might have all the money. He has whatever he needs. He doesn't have a big family he needs to support, whatever it is. He doesn't. It's not about Taivas Mammon either. It's about covered. And that's why he wants to go to work every day and put energy in, so people respect him at work. It's very important, and we've discussed this many times in the Chabura, that whatever you're doing in life, you think at least once or twice, what is my motivation? Why am I doing this? Why am I putting my energy into this? Now that could be in Avodas Hashem, or it could be in Gashmis, or it could be many different, family. There's a lot of things. Why am I doing the thing that I'm doing? It's fascinating sometimes if you can go deep what we'll come out with. It's very important to know. But Al Kapanim, even sometimes, if a person has a certain desire, let's say he's going to work for whatever the motivation is. Sometimes a side motivation can come and overpower the original motivation. For example, I go to work because I need to provide for my family. So I put energy into work. I want the boss, to give me a paycheck. I don't want him to fire me. So I put my energy in. I have to do my paperwork, make my phone calls, whatever it is. What happens if one day something happens in the world, in my house, something that creates a certain stress, a worry in me? And something that I start to think about. What am I going to do? How am I going to take care of this? So you could be at work, generally motivated generally putting energy into that system. But today, that week, that month, you can't. Because another motivation, this stress, whatever this thing is, overpowered it. Now you put all of your energy into that, you're not left with anything by work. Right? That can happen all the time also, right? I think it's never push it, right? Again, knowing what's going on is the most important. So we have energy that's being focused, energy that's being pushed from our wants and our desires, or energy really being allocated based on our wants and our desires. And then we have to make sure that the energy we're putting in to what we deem appropriate doesn't get hijacked by some side motivation. Correct? Two parts. The allocation of energy, where my power is going, giving a reason to want and desire this thing, and then making sure that it stays the biggest and some other motivation doesn't hijack the allocation of energy to that place. So what does the word lahachriach mean? Let's go back to that word. Lahachriach means to force. Now force takes, I'm not speaking scientifically over here, so don't, if you're a physics major over here, don't count me on this. It could be I'm right, I don't know. But force is very connected to the world of power. Because when you force something, you're trying to force a certain power in a certain direction to overcome any obstacles, right? You're putting pressure on the system. Everybody has a potential to daven out loud. Just open your mouth and say the words out loud. I mean, unless you're mute, well, I know, but you can do it. But we know you could bring a horse to the trough, but you can't force him to drink. Force. You can't force him to drink, exactly. So you have a kid, and he's got 104 fever. It's dangerous. 104 fever. And you tell the kid, okay, you got to take the medicine. You got to take the Tylenol, the Motrin, whatever it is, if you hold that stuff. I don't know what I'm dealing with over here. And the kid's crying, no, I don't want to take it, it's icky. Now it's 104. You hold, okay, that the medicine, Mitzvah Shem, the Kodesh Baruch helps, going to help him. So what do you have to do sometimes? Force. You have to force him. He's crying, he's kicking, he's screaming. But what do we know ultimately? It'll be better. It's good for him. So you have to break through the obstacles. So there's a certain power where you want to put the medicine into his mouth. He's saying no. You then need to force it, put a double, gvura, shebe gvura. But ultimately, what is it? It's a gvura, shebe gvura, shebe chesed. Right? Because ultimately, it's for a good reason. So we have davening. You're lazy. I don't daven today. I'm not motivated to daven. I don't have any good reason. Tefillah doesn't work. It doesn't really pay my bills. It's just a lot of words that I don't know what they mean. So if we have no motivation, now we're in trouble. Because we're not going to allocate any energy to that system called tefillah. Right? So Rabbi Nachman is number one. B'kol kocho. Just say it out loud. There's no other reason except for Rabbeinu said, Rabbi Nachman said, just do it. We know deep down it's the emes. That's why this will work. At the end of the day, we know tefillah is the emes. We just don't know how it works, and it never really worked for me, and therefore I gave up on it, at 13 years old. But Rabbi Nachman says, no, to mechazik yourself. Daven b'kol kocho. That you never tried before. Because everybody always whispers there, Hashem, please give me money. Baruch Aleinu. Baruch Aleinu, Hashem Elokeinu. That's the favorite tefillah of all time. Baruch Aleinu. That one is Shema Koleinu. Why? Because you could add any personal request. So those, and what do you ask in a personal request? Hashem, please give me parnasa. If you didn't hear me in Baruch Aleinu, hear me now. Shema Koleinu, right? It's pretty much how it goes, right? And if you didn't get it by Shema Koleinu, what do you do? Belokai Netzor at the end, right? 5, 4, 3, 7, 6. Kadosh Baruch Hu. In case you didn't hear me, I really, 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 really want money. Just in case you didn't get that. The first 6 million times I did it. Hashem's like, I got it. But I told you, 6 months, 3 days, 14 hours, and 36 nisyonos. You just haven't passed the nisyonos yet. So the first Nakuda Rabbi Nachman, they start off the Sicha, B'kol Kocho. Start allocating energy to that place. You don't understand why? Doesn't matter. Allocate energy to that place. B'kol Kocho. Sometimes it's not so easy. Sometimes you want to be lazy. Even though I know in my head I should do it, I don't want to. So Rabbi Nachman says, L'hachriach. You have to force yourself. I know it's not easy. You have to force yourself. Right? And he says, Lo k'moshe kitzas she'ein l'hachriach atam l'tefillah. It's not like some people say that you shouldn't force yourself in tefillah. Rak adarabba. On the contrary, says Rabbi Nachman, tzrichin l'hachriach atam ma'od b'kol kochos tefillah. You have to really, really force yourself and put all of your koch into tefillah. So what is this other opinion? Who would say don't force yourself into tefillah? Sounds like a good opinion. Rabbi Nachman sounds right. To force yourself. Why would anybody else say not that way? I'm opening up to the Chevron. He says, Lo k'mosham ketzas she'ein lachreich atzma tefillah. It's not like some say that you shouldn't force yourself to tefillah. Why not?
If you're forced to, maybe you don't want to do it. You're feeling like you're being forced to do it.
Okay.
You're not doing it on your own will.
Sounds like a good answer. Because that opinion says, if you're always forcing yourself, maybe you'll come to dislike it. Okay, I definitely know that. Anything else?
Don't do Ian Tefillah like it says in Brachos. Maybe
Don't do what?
Ian Tefillah, right?
What do you mean?
In Brachos, where it says like...
You feel, yeah, to ma'ayin, but that...
that's just the only time I could imagine where it says don't do something with like don't saying something in Tefillah. I don't know.
It's going to be too loud and short. Everyone's saying it out loud. Too many chefs in the kitchen. How many chazanim do we need?
Okay. But I don't think that's right. I'll tell you why. Because again, there's two lashonas he's using here. There's b'kol kocho, which is out loud, and there's lahachriach, is to force yourself. Here he's saying, lo k'moshe om l'ketzas she'ein lahachriach atzmo. They're not saying don't daven out loud. They're saying don't force yourself to daven. Maybe. Again, I don't know.
That's like the one that...
What?
There's a concept that don't force yourself to cry. Don't like fake a relationship of crying. Like,
Why?
Fake cry.
Why?
It's disingenuous. It needs to be...
Okay, fine. So don't force yourself because it's not genuine. It's a good answer also. So don't force it because it's not genuine. Don't force it because you might come to dislike it more. So we'll give another answer that's similar. Is that this opinion could say, you shouldn't have to force yourself. Tefillah is holy. You should just naturally love it. I mean, to force yourself is like going against what's natural. But that's just the Yetzer Hara getting a person to never love tefillah. Because sometimes, like we explained, you need to lachrich, you need to force, break through the nisyonos, the barriers, any other side motivations, the worries, the stress, the things that are going on during the day. Right? It's a Yetzer Hara to say, don't lachrich, because then you might come to hate it. The reason why people don't like davening is not because they're forcing the words out. It's because they think they're supposed to get something from it, and they're not getting it. So I don't like this. But a person just davening out loud and pushing to daven out loud without any expectations that he's supposed to receive something because he's davening out loud. And the only reason why I'm davening out loud is because this is what I think Hashem wants me to do, is to connect him, and this is the way I connect him. I don't think he'll lose on that.
No expectations.
No expectations. What? Whatever that means. Yeah, we work with that all the time. That's one of. I think expectations is one of the biggest Yetzer Haras in the whole world. It's one of the biggest destroyers, mashchisim of our lives. Expectations. We always work with expectations. We don't even realize. A person expects that if he davens out loud, Hashem's going to give him stuff. I don't think so. You really can't have any expectations with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Emunah says, Bitachon says, drop all your expectations. Im yirtzeh Hashem. If Hashem is his ratzon, great. If it's not his ratzon, it's up to him, not up to me. I'll go upon him. So Rabbi Nachman says, don't listen to that opinion who says that Lahachrich is not genuine, or it's going to get you to dislike it, or you should just love it naturally. No. What happens is you have to force it. It happens to be, you can't knock it because most people don't do that. And the only people that I've ever heard davening out loud and maybe forcing it, they seem very happy. They seem very happy they're davening out loud. I'm not saying screaming like Stalin. That is a mahalach if you like. But a person who davens out loud, I've never heard a person say, I didn't enjoy that out loud davening today. Meaning you yourself, the guy next to you might not like it. Mm-hmm. But you yourself, I've never heard such a person say such a thing. A person who mumbles and whispers, that was a bad davening today. Yeah, because what did you do? You came in droopy and you left droopy. That's it. Where's the merch, by the way? I'm not a droopy Jew. Get little hats on my tefillin mirror, you know? Don't be a droopy Jew. Aren't you guys merch guys? Sneakers? Come on, guys. Let's go. Only think Yoshem could put out merch? Come on, we could do it.
We need to get that image.
We need the image, yeah.
The right image.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's
ChatGPT. Okay. Come on. I want some pictures of Droopy Drew, like.
We'll do that.
You can draw it up. Weiter, says Rabbi Nachman says. Now look what he says now. Shuv Omar. Then he said, Kesha Adam Espal Bekavana Dahainu. When a person davens with kavana, what does kavana mean? This is level 2. Level 2 is kavana. First level was Bekol Kolcho, out loud, lachrich, force yourself to daven out loud. Did he mention anything about understanding anything? Any kavana? Nothing. That was level 1, and it's emes. Do it. Level 2. Kesha Adam Espal Bekavana, person davens with kavana. Dahainu. Listen carefully to what Rabbi Nachman says is called kavana. Okay? Shemekasher hamachshava el hadibur umata ozno v'shomeya mashahu medaber. What does kavana mean? When a person binds, makasher, ties his machshava, his thoughts, to his dibur, what he says out of his mouth, and he inclines his ear, v'shomeya, and he hears what he's saying. Point number 1. He does not say, you have to actually know the exact translation. What you do need to know with kavana, kavana means, what's kivun mean? Direction. You need to be directing your tefillah, and you need to directly connect to your tefillah. How do you do that? Before you say any word, and it takes time to get into it, know what you're saying. We can open up a siddur and you could dive in the entire siddur, and everybody knows this, and not really pay attention to one single word you said. You said every word. Mamish, you said every word, but you didn't pay attention to one single word you said. You didn't know the word before you said it. You just said it, and then it was out. We all do this all the time, especially if you're tired, if you're not putting any energy into it, right? You cannot get to kavana if you're not able to put energy in. There's no possibility, because kavana, to direct something, is only with energy. Because again, you're taking a certain energy and you're directing it. Right? But 2 points. Number 1, you need to think, at least for a second, you need to see the word that you're saying, achshava, to your dibur. Okay? That's why we have to look inside a siddur. And then not only that, umata ozno v'shomeya, now you thought, you said, and then you have to actually hear the word you just said. It sounds very complicated. It's really not. It's really just called being aware, mindful, just conscious of what you're doing. Right? It takes a second. I see the word, I'm going to say baruch, and I hear it. Usually we speak, we're not paying attention to what we're saying, because we know what we're saying. I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to me. Says Rabbi Nachman, but by kavana, you are talking to you. Who are you speaking to by davening? You say Hashem, of course Hashem. Where is he?
All around you.
Where is he? He's in outer space. You're calling up to the satellites. Where's it? No, in davening. Where is he?
Here.
Where's here?
Inside of you.
Here. I'm not talking to the air. Is he there? Vadi is there. But by tefillah, that's not what I'm davening to. I'm not davening to the air. I'm not davening to outer space. I'm not davening to mountains. Where am I davening to? You'll tell me, oh, you're davening to Eretz Yisrael, the Kodesh Kodashim. That's truth, of course. But you know where that really is? It's here. It's in my life. It's in my heart. It's in my soul. It's in my nefesh. Because where does the Kodesh Baruch Hu dwell? Bilvavi, Mishkan, Hevna. In my heart. Bilvavi, Mishkan. Yeah. Yeah. Bilvavi, Mishkan, Hevna. It's just building a sanctuary in my heart. Right? So when we're davening, we have to realize this. It's so important. That really we're davening to the Kodesh Baruch Hu that's inside of us. And how do we make sure in a certain way that a Kodesh Baruch Hu hears our tefillah? When we hear our tefillah. Kodesh Baruch Hu, like the Baal Shem Tov tells us, he's like a shadow. Kodesh Baruch Hu acts like a shadow. How we move, he moves. So if you're paying attention to your davening, he's paying attention to your davening. When you're motivated with energy and Kodesh Baruch Hu is motivated with energy. It's midah keneged midah. Right? Isn't that how life works? Midah keneged midah. What you put in, you get out. Don't judge exactly how Kodesh Baruch Hu does it because it's not the same exact way. But it's exact measure for measure. Just Kodesh Baruch Hu knows how to measure things differently than you do. If you are makasher machshava to your dibur, so Kodesh Baruch Hu will allow the dibur to be a good, strong dibur. And if you pay attention to what you're saying, then Kodesh Baruch Hu will allow you to hear in a deep way what you're saying. And then it becomes just a full system. You become like your own nuclear power plant. You don't need any energy from the outside. Does that make sense? The joke is like, where does a nuclear power plant get energy from? I don't know. Again, I'm not a physicist, but probably from itself, no? Right. it's getting like some electric from somewhere. It's got windmills. It's creating its own power. So Kisha Adam Isbal Kavana, when he's directing his tefillah, the hainim, his makasher, his machshava to his dibur. Again, it's being aware, being conscious, be awake. And he hears what he's saying. It becomes a fluid, sweet flow. Azai, listen to what he says. Azai hakochos nimshachen memela lesoch dibure hatfila. If you daven with kavana, what happens? Automatically, all of your power, your kochos, flow right into the words of tefillah. At the beginning of this Sichos Rabbi Nachman says, you need to daven with full power in your tefillah. You need to force yourself, meaning there's a lot of obstacles. You don't want to daven, you're lazy, it doesn't work. Force yourself to get energy into the diburi tefillah. But once you break through the barriers and you get to the level called kavana, right? Once you hit kavana, you no longer have to force yourself to daven. Automatically, the energy is going to flow right into the dibur tefillah. And he's going to explain. Ki kol ha-kochos mitzapen mistaklen tamid al zeh. Because all the kochos that you have inside of you are always looking, waiting, seeking. For what? Sheyum shechu v'yichnesu b'soch dibur kedoshim. All the energy that you have inside of you wants to enter into these holy words. Right? We have a neshama. Says the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh. If not for the body grounding the neshama would fly back to Kodesh Baruch Hu. You would pasha die. So Kodesh Baruch Hu gives you a body. He says he even gives you taivas. It's not good. We're not supposed to be involved in taivas. But taivas ground us to this physical world. Because if not for the taivas of this world, our neshama will pasha break out of our body and just go back. The person would die. Right? Because the Kedusha always wants to connect to Kedusha. The Neshama always wants to connect back to its source, back to Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's the inyan of a flame. The Svarim HaKadoshim say that the flame is always trying to go higher and higher. You blow a flame, it gets knocked down. The second you stop blowing, what happens? Right back up. Because the fire always wants to go back to its source. Into ayin, into nothingness. Now, why is our energy, like you just said, Why is all of our power always trying to get into what? Diburim Kedoshim. Right? He says all of your energy always really be'emes wants to get into the Diburim, into the holy words of Torah and Tefillah.
This is where it comes from.
So it could be, first of all, that's the source. The letters, the Torah and the Tefillah, are the osios that make up the speech. Really, all of the world was created from the osios, myself included, all of us, all the energy, everything comes from the osios. So the energy is always really, the source of all energy is really in the osios. So it always wants to go back to that place. Also, another reason why is because when Kadosh Baruch Hu said Vayipach ba'apam nishmas chayim, Kadosh Baruch Hu blew life into man. What does Uncle say over there? What's a nishmas chayim? A ruach mamalula, a speaking spirit. The point of connection between body and soul. Vayipach ba'apam nishmas chayim. Kadosh Baruch Hu blew the neshama into man. Nishmas chayim. What is a nishmas chayim? A ruach mamalula. So speech is the point of connection between body and soul. So the energy we have inside, which is coming from the neshama, always wants to go to the place of its origin. The dibur. So when a person finds a job, let's go back. You have a person who's motivated to go get a job because either he wants money, he has to take care of his family, because he wants kavod, he wants money. But what's the highest reason? What happens when a person finds a job that he was made for? He loves what he's doing. He loves it, whatever it is. It's part of his essence. What happens when a person finds an instrument that he just becomes one with? What happens when you find a friend, you just mamish in a sec, instantaneous, become best friends? You have to tell this guy to get up in the morning to go to work. You have to tell this person, you should talk to your friend. It would be nice if you're nice to him. No. You have to turn off the lights in the office at 2 a.m. to get him out of the office. You have to turn off the guy's phone because he just wants to talk to this person all night long. Right? When you have something that you're connected to in an essential way, in an essence way, totally connected, your energy just wants to flow into that place, right? And then you have to pull it back. At some certain point. So if the source of all of our inner energy is the osios, if we could find that inner connection, then automatically our dibur we're going to want to daven. We're going to just want to pour out ourselves into tefillah. Shifchi kamayim libech nochach b'nei Hashem. Pour out my shifchi kamayim libech. I pour out my words like water to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. How do you get to that place? You have to start with the kol kocho. You have to start with the lachriach. Become educated. Become a little bit of a spiritual person. When you get to the place of kavana, it's naturally flowing. Like you said, if you get to kavana, you won't need lahachriach. It's automatically going to flow. You don't need to force it anymore. Always put in power. Always kol kocha. Always you want to daven out loud. But you don't need lahachriach once you get to the kavana, because kavana that's who I am. As Rav Nachman explains, al-kain kishim espal, let's finish off. Al-kain kishim espal b'kavana, when a person davens with kavana, nimshachim v'nichnasan kol kocha shelo mameilu l'toch tefillah. All of his energy, all of his power is automatically going to go into his tefillah. He feels so connected to that place because you're connecting back to Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's dveikus. That's really, really, really where you want to be. We just don't know that all the time because we're stuck in gashmias, we're stuck with other motivations, side motivations. And then he'll be zochet to automatically daven out loud and want to daven out loud. Even though he's not forcing himself. Because you don't need to force yourself when you're already motivated by that want and the desire. Because koach automatically flows into dibur tefillah. It's interesting. Koach. There's 28. Okay, not for now. The kochos nimshachim meila automatically flow into your dibor, into your tefillah, specifically your tefillah. Kishim espal b'kavana, when you're done with kavana, if you can hit that place. To get to kavana, you need to force yourself. But once you get to the kavana, you no longer need to force yourself anymore. Right? You need to force yourself to get to kavana. But once you get into the mode of kavana, thinking about what you're saying and hearing what you're saying, and automatically you become so connected, you don't need to force yourself anymore. It becomes natural. He's saying, because all the kochos that you have are looking, waiting for this time, that they should be drawn after and enter into the dibur, the holy words. And again, when a person davens a kavana, it automatically is going to flow through his tefillah. He'll be able to be davening out loud, strong, powerful. Even though he's not forcing himself anymore, he doesn't need to force. Okay, he says it again. Renachman says, we'll just finish off, in Tinyana Kufir Aleph. Renachman says, he says about tefillah, it brings everything, but he ends up, he says, Pam Echad Rabbi Nachman one time said, if you would bring back a dead person into this world to daven, he would daven with his full koach. Because at this point, when the mace knows what the tefillah is and what it could be and how it's essential for him, if you brought him back into this world, he'll automatically daven with kol koach. So why don't we daven with kol koach while we're still alive? We don't have to wait for that time. No?